The year is 1968, the height of the Cold War. In the vast, crushing darkness of the Pacific Ocean, a disaster unfolds that will change the rules of espionage forever. A Soviet Golf II-class submarine, K-129, carrying 3 nuclear ballistic missiles, suddenly vanishes. It was lost somewhere north of Hawaii, plunging 16,000 feet to the absolute bottom of the ocean floor. For the Soviet Navy, this was a catastrophic failure, a deeply buried secret. But for the United States, it was the ultimate, irresistible intelligence target. This wreck held the keys to Soviet missile technology, cryptographic codes, and the entire launch protocol for their nuclear arsenal. The challenge was unprecedented. Retrieve a 1,750-ton submarine from a depth of over 3 miles, deeper than the Titanic, without the Soviet Union ever knowing what happened. The CIA's answer was audacious, reckless, and quintessentially American. Project Azorian. A clandestine, multi-year $800 million operation financed by a billionaire recluse and executed by a ship that was the biggest engineering lie in history. This is the story of how America tried to steal a sunken nuclear sub. To undertake a project of this scale, the operation needed an impenetrable cover. The CIA turned to the most eccentric and reclusive figure in American industry, Howard Hughes. Hughes, a legendary industrialist and billionaire, was the perfect facade. He was known for undertaking colossal, bizarre, and boundary-pushing engineering projects. The CIA publicly announced that Hughes was financing and building a massive ship, the Hughes Glomar Explorer, for a legitimate commercial purpose: deep-sea mining. The Glomar was supposedly designed to dredge manganese nodules from the ocean floor. The Soviets, who were constantly monitoring American construction, believed the lie. No one would suspect a giant specialized mining ship was actually a highly advanced salvage warship. The Glomar Explorer itself was a marvel of covert engineering. It was over 600 feet long, but its core secret was hidden beneath the waterline: a massive central moon pool, a huge retractable floor that could open up to the ocean. This moon pool would allow the sub to be secretly hauled into the ship's interior, completely hidden from Soviet surveillance satellites and trawlers. The recovery challenge was immense. The K-129 lay on the seabed at a depth of 16,500 feet. No ship, no crane, and no cable system existed that could handle that crushing weight at that depth. The CIA and their contractors invented the entire recovery system from scratch. The primary tool was the capture vehicle, codenamed Clementine, but known by the crew simply as the Claw. This massive 3-pronged mechanical claw, weighing hundreds of tons, had to be strong enough to cradle the fragile hull of the Soviet submarine. The claw was lowered by a revolutionary drill pipe string, a towering column of steel pipes over 3 miles long. This pipe string had to be precisely engineered to handle not only the weight of the claw and the sub, but also the immense forces of ocean currents and the ship's movement on the surface. Every pipe joint had to withstand 16,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. The entire structure was controlled by a dynamic positioning system, using powerful thrusters to keep the Glomar Explorer perfectly stationary over the target, even in rough seas. It was a ballet of engineering precision, executed in a hostile, unseen environment. As the Glomar Explorer began its secret work, the Covert became competitive. The Soviets were curious about the giant American mining ship operating in international waters so close to where their sub was lost. Soviet spy ships, known as trawlers, began to loiter around the Glomar Explorer, watching every move. This began an intense, dangerous game of cat and mouse. The American crew, made up of both CIA operatives and civilian contractors sworn to secrecy, had to maintain the facade of deep-sea mining. They used deceptive equipment, held fake briefings, and even played loud music and games on deck to make the trawler captains think they were just a carefree civilian crew. Meanwhile, just 16,000 feet below their feet, the Claw was slowly, painstakingly, being lowered onto the K-129. The operation was excruciatingly slow. It took a full week just to lower the Claw to the seabed. The tension on board was unbearable. The Soviet trawlers were close enough to take pictures, but the Glomar's moon pool kept the recovery itself hidden. The CIA's greatest fear was a confrontation, a realization by the Soviets of the true nature of the mission. In the summer of 1974, the moment of truth arrived. After weeks of agonizing labor, the claw successfully engaged the hull of the K-129. The Glomar Explorer began the slow 3-mile haul back to the surface. The massive pipe string began reeling in the 1,750-ton submarine. The stress on the system was beyond any design parameters. The operation lasted days. Then, disaster struck. The sheer weight and extreme stress caused a catastrophic failure of the claw's mechanical structure. A large portion of the K-129, believed to be about 2/3 of the hull, snapped off and plunged back down to the abyssal plain. The mission was a partial failure, but the CIA had succeeded in lifting a significant piece of the Soviet sub, including 2 nuclear torpedoes, crucial communication equipment, and key cryptographic materials. The American intelligence community had achieved a phenomenal victory, recovering secrets they thought were lost forever. The intact section of the sub was successfully hauled into the Glomar's moon pool, and the massive door slammed shut, concealing the prize from the Soviet spy ships watching just a few hundred yards away. The secrets recovered from the K-129 yielded immense intelligence on Soviet capabilities, significantly contributing to America's advantage in the Cold War. However, the secret could not be kept forever. In 1974, a series of leaks, initially reported by the Los Angeles Times, exposed the entire Project Azorian. The world learned the bizarre, true story of the CIA, the billionaire, and the sunken nuclear sub. The CIA's response created a new precedent. To evade scrutiny, they invoked the legal doctrine of Glomar response, stating that they could neither confirm nor deny the existence of the project. The very term Glomar has since become synonymous with government evasion and secrecy. Project Azorian stands as the single most complex, audacious, and expensive intelligence operation ever conceived. It demonstrated the lengths to which the United States would go to gain a technological edge over its rivals. It proved that American industrial and engineering ambition, when paired with immense secrecy, could conquer any frontier, even the most inaccessible depths of the sea. The silent war was fought not just in the air or on land, but in the deepest, darkest trenches of the world's oceans. The ghost of the Pacific had given up its secrets,